my beautiful peoples. Just real quick before we start, I wanted to let you know that I did draw every day consecutively until I finished this challenge, but the 30 days on your screen aren't necessarily consecutive themselves. I drew every single day because I thought that was in the spirit of the challenge, but on some days, whatever I drew wasn't usable because it was either on paper and not recorded for a different video and I didn't want to use the footage twice, or it was not suitable for YouTube. Thank you so much for understanding, and I hope you enjoy the video. Hi guys, we're starting off with an art fight attack on a character named Shampoo Sands. It's definitely not 7 hours before this video goes live, and I'm definitely not recording this right now because for some reason my editing program deleted the old voiceover. So I'm starting with the background. I accidentally draw the fridge left-handed. I am left-handed, but I've never seen a left-handed fridge. I use this little trick where I make the grid for the tile floor first, and then use the perspective tool to apply it to the tile floor. I'm really glad I did that because it's hard to get the spacing between tiles like depth-wise correct. And you can see me here really struggling with the pose. I had multiple references, in fact, for this pose, but this is a Sans character, and Sans characters are not proportioned like the people in the stock photos of people mopping the floor. Because I started making this video before I finished the other one, well, because I knew that 30 days was a long time, so I wanted to get started to try to get this video out in a timely manner. It's funny now that I tried to do that, because I certainly didn't succeed to do that. And we're switching over to me working on some sprites that I used for the last video, and probably this one too, of my character Honey. And I'm just now realizing that in my brand new sprites, I forgot to give Honey their septum ring. I'll put text on screen now for if I fix that or not. It's January right now when I'm recording this part of the voiceover, and it's interesting to watch because this was in July, and a lot has changed since July. Mostly the fact that I stopped doing line art, though I've also been thinking about going back to doing line art because art styles are weird and hard. It was perhaps obvious from how the sprites looked that I copied many of the assets and just like moved assets around, which you can see me doing here. I didn't do that for my brand new sprites. I considered changing the order of clips so that they each piece was continuous, but I decided that I should keep it in the real chronological order, just for consistency, and also because once you start lying, you're kind of trapped. This one is flashy. I did not realize that. This is for the background I used for my first YouTube video. I didn't like it, so as you can see, it changed. Now we're on to day 5, and here I am working once again on Shampoo Sands. This one took a while. I mean, I did a lot for it. You know, it's got full scene, has bubbles. The bubbles gave me some trouble. You'll see later on. I didn't want to use a fake preset. I wanted to try to do it on my own, and I could not understand. So that's something I should maybe practice in the future. I think this piece really cemented in me the not wanting to do line art. Line art is my biggest thing I go through phases with. I switch it up at least once a year. For the first time, I actually started kind of liking line art, but I noticed with this piece that it didn't go with my style well, which was strange because usually I stopped doing line art because I didn't like doing it. But this time I kind of enjoyed it, and then I was like, oh, but it looks bad. Art is an ongoing process. We're gonna see what happens. I am always trying to improve and change my style. And here we have Casper. This is a profile picture I made as practice and as an example for a commission sheet that I ended up not setting up because I struggled to find a way to not have it attached to my legal name. And I just don't want my legal name on the internet, and definitely not attached to this YouTube channel. And here you can see me doing a totally different type of line art. I have such a love-hate relationship with line art, and it means that it changes from every piece I do. Eventually I'll figure it out. Meant to be. I did a bit of a simpler style for this profile picture since it needs to, be easily readable to be a profile picture. I actually had a lot of fun with this profile picture. though I do regret not being capable of drawing hats. It's something to learn. I have a lot to learn, but I think it reads clearly when it's small, which is important. Yeah, it was nice practice. And at this point, I started remembering to actually sign my stuff. And we're back once again to Shampoo Sans, and here I'm starting to actually paint things, add colors. I made a little brush on Krita, and by that I mean I changed the settings on an existing brush. To get that effect with the colors, where it slightly hue shifts from stroke to stroke, you can see it most on the wall, I think, and a little bit with the cabinets. I'm not sure if I liked the decision to have line art for Shampoo and not for the background. I feel like sometimes it works well. I don't remember at this point in the voice over what the end product looks like, so maybe it looks fine, but I think at this point it's a little jarring. We'll see how it goes. I think usually it works better because a lot of times my characters are less inside the scene than Shampoo is in this one. I think I probably made the colors too muted, but it's okay. I had already been working on this for 4 days, so I didn't want to spend a lot of time continuing it, just because I was starting to get to that point where I didn't want to work on it anymore. I figured it was better to finish it than to not finish it. And I really love this coat that Shampoo Sans has. This is the last day of Shampoo Sans. As you can see, my coloring method is perhaps not the most efficient in this one. And I use an overlay trick that you'll see probably a bunch more times for shading the piece, which I like as a start, but I was getting kind of tired of it. I worked on it for a while, so I honestly wanted to be done working on it. And I struggled for a while on the bubbles. I didn't want to use any sort of bubble preset, so kind of didn't come out the best. Alright, so at this point, Art Fight is done, and by done I mean it had 48 hours left or something like that, and the last piece I did took me 10 days. So I didn't want to risk it. So instead I was working on the stuff for the commission sheet again, and I'm pretty proud of both of these. Commissions might be coming someday. Maybe I'll start doing Cash App commissions again if there's a demand for them. I do wish that it took less time for me to make this video, but in a way I kind of like looking back at this art that I did 8 months ago maybe. This obvious thing of looking back and seeing how much I've improved, but it's also the thing thinking about what I can learn from this, from what I'm looking at my screen right now. I'm far enough away on it that I can think about that. I can think about how I didn't spend enough time on that butterfly. I just kind of slapped it down so I could have her a little cross-eyed. You know, even though I came up with this idea to make so many recording passes, I've gone through a lot of waves of being incredibly skeptical about it. Right now I'm on the 4th pass for this segment. I'm just thinking about how many thoughts I've gotten out, you know? I have options to choose from for the video, instead of trying my damnedest to fill 18 minutes on a script like I did for last video. So for the footage of day 11, I lost it. I can only assume I lost it during editing, because what I'm looking at right now, and you won't be seeing, is the same clip playing for day 10 and day 11. And I know it's not the best practice, but I have a pretty bad computer. And so it's constantly running out of storage space. Once I edited together the clips for me to watch as I do the voiceover over, I deleted the original clips. So, you don't get to see me doing the line art that happened at day 11. Sorry. You know, a lot of other artists I've seen do similar challenges did one full focused finished piece. I don't get it. That's not me. That's not how I operate. I've mostly seen it from artists who, they just draw quicker. They just draw quicker. I'm not the 1 hour drawing guy. I mean, unless it's like a bust, which I don't like doing busts much. Maybe that's where I'm going wrong. I always do big things and I love dynamic poses. I think it makes sense when you can finish a drawing in 1.5 hours that you'd be able to do one full drawing every day. Dedicating 4 hours a day is a lot different than dedicating an hour a day. And I feel like people also probably specifically drew smaller things for those challenges, which I should have done if I were smart. I should have done that. Silly me. I hope I edit out how many times I've said with how long it's been, because I've said it like at least 20 times. Maybe we should put a counter up in the final video of every time I say how long it's been. Anyway, here you can see me doing the shading. I really like how I did the shading on this one. I haven't gotten to the point of shading a piece in so long, so I guess that makes this extra impressive. I think I turned the opacity down on this multiply layer at some point. I think it would have been better if I hadn't. I think the really dark shadows was really nice, actually. And I like how I did the highlights too. I kind of just turned down the multiply layer by default after I'm done shading, but I think in this particular piece it looked better. I think sometimes as an artist you do that, habit overtakes what looks better for a piece. But it was all very nice. So you can see I put a little pink screen over it too, trying to adjust colors and such. Here's an eye study, and I'm gonna probably do another eye study soon. I'm not really satisfied with it. There were two main focuses, which were the colors in the iris. I like how I do the iris these days, which isn't what you're seeing on screen right now. Sorry. This video took a long fucking time. And mostly, that's my fault for procrastinating. And the secondary one was line art, because for a long time I hadn't been doing line art, and my eyes didn't really adapt once I started doing line art again. I think I'm actually pretty satisfied with how I do the lines on the eyes right now, though I'm not sure I would be satisfied if I did like a close-up, but I hardly ever do close-ups of characters' faces. The thing is that I didn't do an eye study because I wanted to do an eye study. I did an eye study so that I could draw something else, because I wasn't happy about how the eye was looking. So I kind of rushed the eye study. I just wanted to figure something out for the drawing I was working on. I guess I did that, but, I'm not happy with it. I'm not happy with how I draw eyes. Still, I think I'm actually pretty satisfied with how I do the lines on the eyes right now. I'm not happy with how I drew eyes in this. I'm really not happy with the realistic eye from reference. I think that's what I would focus on first next time, because I focused more on stylized eyes this time, because once again I was just trying to figure out how to draw it for one single drawing. I want to figure out a way to draw that I like. And I think there are certainly things I did here and choices I made that are worthwhile to check out and keep in mind. The heart highlights are something I'd like to incorporate. I have this habit to make the iris's pupils. I just can't seem to break it. Like, even in that study, you can see I decide to start doing circular pupils, and then immediately in like the mock-up drawing of like an actual character drawing, they're ovals again. It's hard. It's hard out here. For this recording session, I have tonsillitis, so feel free to play a fun game in the comments trying to guess which voice clips are tonsillitis and which voice clips are normal. Whoa! Is that? It is, dear viewer. It is Sans Undertale. My true colors, my true nature, finally revealed. I'm an Undertale nerd. I guess apparently not as big of a nerd as I used to be though, because my little brother has gotten into it lately, and he talks about so many things I never heard of, and has, like, the weapon stats memorized. I couldn't figure him out in 3D space. I was struggling. You'd think with the amount of Sans I've drawn, I would have figured it out, but I have not. And here you can see me doing a lot of perspective shit. I was trying to figure out how the fuck caves work. I don't know a full definition difference between cave and den. And also, I just realized, saying that, I was trying to look up dens for reference. As you can see, I'm struggling a lot with how the fuck the shading works. And it's occurred to me now, the den references, they didn't work. Could've looked up caves for reference instead. This is a redraw of a redraw. The most recent one was 2 years before this. I'm probably gonna redraw it again this year, which is in only a couple months at this point, because it took me so long to get this video out. Of course, it's a Undertale freak drawing. It's who I am. I can't help it. I'm an Undertale freak. I think it runs in my blood because my much younger brother is now also an Undertale freak, and I had nothing to do with that. I've been introspective about a lot of things in life lately, not just YouTube videos and voice recordings, and it's been different, but it's also been nice in a way, because it's like, in a way it's kind of mindfulness, right? Which I try my best to practice, but we all know how life is, so it doesn't always work out being mindful, but one day it will. I think that's something you gotta keep saying to yourself, one day it will. Obviously you gotta work at things, but why would you work at things if one day it won't? I'm gonna draw again later tonight, in fact. After recording this voiceover, I'm gonna draw, because I want to. I actually already have a reference pulled up because I'm gonna be doing studies of some animals, which will eventually kind of make it into a video. I'm sketching them on paper, and I'm not recording it, but they're for a character I'm making for a video. I was kind of in a rough patch when I made this one. Comes through a bit, I think. I also imposed an unnecessary challenge on myself. Everything except the sketch is on one layer, so that didn't make it easier. I hate to admit it, I'm pretty sure I like the version for this one more than I like this one. I'll show both previous versions on screen right now. I'll also put dates if I can find the dates. And here, on day 18, I don't remember exactly what happened. I think I saw a mushroom drawing on a sidewalk, like a chalk drawing. I was like, that looks kind of like a jellyfish. And then I was like, what if I made jellyfish mushrooms? Just as a silly little doodle drawing thing. So that's what I did. I found some cool mushrooms that I could kind of have a vision for as jellyfish. I found some jellyfish that looked like them. And I started doing away. And I'm really happy about that. And also something I'm weirdly happy about is that at some point I accidentally switched sketching colors on the second mushroom jellyfish. And I think it looks really cool actually to have that more magenta-y purple and the more cooler true purple. And here I am cleaning up the colors because I did a select and then invert and then fill. It just didn't look very nice because of the brush I used to sketch mainly. And the third one didn't look very nice because the sketch wasn't very clean, but that's okay. I think I'm pretty proud of these. I love doing this. Sometimes I forget that I love doing this until I'm doing it. I find that's true for a lot of things. I forget how happy drawing makes me until I'm drawing and then I don't draw. And I forget how much I like making YouTube videos, so I don't work on YouTube videos. I think in several ways that's sad, but I think also it's just kind of a lesson I have to learn, I just kind of gotta do things. I think part of it is because of a delay in dopamine, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm just saying words I don't understand. I wanted to draw someone in a skirt. I don't remember the details now, but I just could not figure out how skirts work. It'd been a problem for a while, but it kind of came to a head and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do a little study on skirts. We're starting off with an art trade I did with one of my friends. I'll post what they did for me, if I get permission. It was their first digital piece, I believe. We're in the final stretch now, and I don't know if it was improvement necessarily, overall with my art skills, or if I was psyching myself up during the first half, or whatever it was. But anyway, I feel like this last stretch is markedly better than previous, which is very exciting. Not that any of the previous voice recordings were unpleasant to do, but this last one just kind of making me happy. Not even fully in a, oh, it's over way. It's not like relief, it's like, wow, I did it. Which is kind of similar to relief, but it's more like proud. I'm proud that I did this voice recording in a stupid ass way, and I finished it. And here I was gonna do a full OC-tober, and honestly, I really wanna revisit that in 6 months. Or maybe I can do an OC-tober for fun at any time. Ooh, maybe I could make my own OC-tober list. Yeah, I'm seeing the vision now. I'm not making any promises. So be prepared for that to not happen anytime soon. Or ever. We literally never know how the world is gonna pan out. This was day 1. The list I was going to use was gender swap, so I gender swapped this guy, Xian. And this is gonna sound really funny. I was planning on making OC-tober its own video. We're back to the art trade. This art trade took me a while to finish, if I recall correctly. It's of the other person's Sona, and I really like it. They gave me like several choices of character to work with. Yeah, I really like their Sona. Maybe it's not their Sona anymore with how long it's been. I'm super proud of the line art on this art trade piece. I've been trying to learn that the details matter. And don't have to make them super detailed, but you do gotta at least remember they're there. You gotta make it so that the detail doesn't detract from the rest of the piece. It doesn't have to be incredible, but just so it doesn't make what's surrounding it look worse, And that's really hard sometimes, especially if you spend a long time on something. And depending on the piece, it can be worth it to get it over with. It's something you learn, I guess, when to just be done with something or when to keep on going. I love looking at my art a few months out because, wow, those things really aren't as noticeable as I thought they were, huh? Because, I can still remember what I thought was awful about them and remember feeling awful and look at those things, but they are not nearly as awful as I thought at the time, most of the time. Sometimes they're worse. It depends. Like the shoes are worse than I remember. Yeah, I really struggled on the pants here. I think because I sketched it kind of weird, so then it was falling weird. And I struggled with the shoes, because I always struggle with shoes. Less every time I draw them, but I still had quite a bit to go at this point. But I have gotten better at not being afraid of references. What I recall is I knew the shoulder was wonky, but I didn't have it in me to continue working on it. It was the last thing in the line art, and I hate line art. That's why I keep going through phases of doing it and not doing it. Because I love the way it looks, but I don't like doing it. These days I'm mostly doing, cleaned up sketches. They come pretty close to line art. It's more of a mental thing to call them super cleaned up sketches versus a literal interpretation of it being line art versus a sketch. And here I go, shading everything one by one. I actually like this. I think I do another overall shading pass later on to add a little more extra contrast and also continuity. I'm pretty sure I stopped doing this method after this piece, but this is actually pretty close to how I do it now. Art styles in drawing, so silly, so funny. It's all big cycles, for me at least. Except each cycle I get a little bit better. I'm a little bit smarter. I'm a little bit less satisfied with mistakes. I think the next video I'm gonna make is gonna be a lot shorter. I'll still probably do a few takes, but my next video also probably won't be drawing focused, so it'll be a little different. I also have it so my program automatically records every drawing I do, and that's the real reason that those non-video drawings are recorded, but since they are recorded anyway for just a talking video, that's not about designing characters or doing some challenge, right? Gosh, what am I looking at right now? Is this Growler? Oh my god, I think it is. Okay, in a Discord server I was in, there was a big collab. It's for a YouTube channel, so I'll link the YouTube channel in the description. And the idea was we all put our OC or Sona or whatever into a Halloween costume, and then this YouTuber would all put them in a scene together. And so this is Growler, and he, for now, is dressed up as Grumpy Bear. I struggle so much with eyes, especially because every time I study eyes, I'm like, oh, I'll definitely stick to line art this time. I never stick to line art this time. And then when I back off from line art, that study I just did, out the window. At least that's the reason I blame for my eyes looking wonky though I have started doing something that I think helps a lot. Number one, I don't do black sketches anymore. It's all colored, or at least the final version is colored, and it's like a multiply layer. What I've been doing lately is I'll put a darker brown or a black over top real thinly to like make an impression of eyelashes. I think that's helping a lot. I've also just been making my sketches even cleaner than this one. I say that like this one was clean in the first place, but you know. So this was also just like a doodle, especially the Gandalf part. The Discord server is very, very child friendly, so I started with Grumpy Bear for the actual Halloween thing. But as you'll see in a second, yep, I go back because one of my friends suggested Big Titty Gandalf, and I thought it was hilarious and accurate for my character, so I just kind of did it. I used the same base as you can see and just added Gandalf clothes over top, but I did it. I wish I made the titties more exaggerated. And we're going back here for a couple finishing touches. I think I give him better fingers. I try the moss again. Do I keep it? I keep it looks like. I did a little glow and then it's over. As you can see, it's day 29, and I knew I wanted to have 30 days of drawing. So I actually looked back and I was like, okay, what can I finish? And then I finished that and I realized I didn't have any more unfinished pieces for day 30. I was like, I can't end on day 29. And so I took this request for this just incredible character. All their drawings of this character were on paper and they wanted a digital reference sheet for them. And wow, it's incredible. As you can see, I went over the 30 days. I went until I finished this drawing, I believe. The character, or maybe the species, is called furry birch. It's like a dinosaur birch tree that's also fluffy. It's incredible. I did not feel worthy for this reference sheet, but I did it. I drew all those stripes by hand. That was the hardest part, for sure. Goodness gracious, the stripes. Am I talking too fast? Uh-oh. Let's see, I hope editing doesn't hate me. We're gonna find out. And by we, I mean me. And maybe you if editing... Fuck, did I just say my name? And maybe you if editing honey cares to put on screen how big of a pain in the ass I was. I remember overthinking the stripes like a lot in the moment, but they look fine now that it's been several months since I drew this. I'm sick today. Here's your free bonus point. Your free bingo square for tonsillitis clip game. So I'm messing up my words a lot. I just didn't want to do nothing because I'd been doing nothing the past couple of days because of tonsillitis and also my birthday. I'm older now. Yippee. But I'm feeling good enough to talk, and this voiceover has been being voiceovered for like 5 months at this point. Maybe longer. I want it done. I want it over. I don't want to do it anymore. Thanks for watching and stay sweet, my honeydews.